They actually, as I'm thinking about it, they could be resources for more things than you might think. Most journalists, for at least the past 50 years, record all their interviews. And so what you see in print is, you know, in my Coltrane book, I have about an hour's worth of interviews or trained that were never published before. I got them from, I said, well, I see you published a couple of sentences. I doubt that's all you have. Oh, no, I have a 15-minute tape or whatever. They're not going to tell anybody. You have to ask them. But so I'm sure somebody like Francis has, you know, who knows, a couple of hundred interviews. I also know, and sometimes it's also research they've done. Francis, you may or may not know, for years was researching his own John Coltrane book.
Yeah.
And then he gave up on it. Now, he told them
He stopped, yeah.
What were you going to say?
Well, it's just a coincidence that he stopped writing it when yours came out. He
Well-
seemed to stop working on it.
It's, he told a mutual friend that it wasn't a coincidence.
No, it's no such
But
thing.
I-
No, I was
He's
thinking
But
being-
oh,
yeah.
being sarcastic,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know,
But he-
Louis, that's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, right,
I don't know
right.
if I want to take that on.
But I was telling this mutual friend, I said, it's not like there's only one book on a subject like that.
Oh, no.
There should be tons of them. But
Miles was.
But
up-
I know he got fairly far in some research, including something on the history of the Coltrane House and some other stuff, so who knows?
We're going around the table real quick. Diane, why don't you say, did you want to say one last thing before?
Okay, I'll say something in response to what Louis said. When I interviewed Shirley Scott related to the music critics, and I said, well, how do you feel when you get a bad write-up? And she looked at me and she said, most of the music critics are not good musicians.
They're not musicians at all.
That was her response.
Did she know that they don't even play instruments?
Yeah, right.
Or read music? They're not musicians at all.
Right.
That was her
But
response.
that's a good, all right.
Thank you, I have to go to another
Thank
meeting.
you, Diane.
She controlled herself on that one. She should have said they don't know their blank from their blank.
Shirley, she was always in there.
Except they could tell
Yeah,
if you taste
yeah.
like peanut butter.
Hi, Diane.
That's
Well,
about
it
all
stuck
they
with you.
know. Good to meet you, Diane.
Okay, good to meet you.
I mean, in person
care.
instead of
When you get a
cyberspace.
chance, stop in the Watson collections.
Yeah, I'd like
All
to.
right, have a good one.
All right.
Shall we?
Anybody else want to
Jermaine,
add
have
something?
anything profound
Jermaine?
you want to?
No, I have nothing profound.
Or non-profound?
Nothing's remaining.
Nothing, Jim.
Nothing germane. Yeah, I just want to, I don't envy you, trying to figure out how you're going to take this to the next stage of grant making. I really love the fact that you're thinking about this as expansively as you are. But at some point, you're going to have to narrow this down to a few critical questions that you can take into the next round of Pew, which is when?
Well, actually, they're changing their grant cycle.
Right.
So it's not going to line up. When
So it'll
we
be next year.
When we
before
finish
they-
this project, there's going to be like 6 to 8 months before we can even apply for the next round, because they're changing their cycle from like a, you know,
It would have
calendar year,
been
yeah.
November of this year.
Right.
Starting.
But for the next meeting that we have with you advisors, you know, we'll have gone to a certain extent, so there'll be new questions generated on what we found. And so hopefully we'll really come up with
more
after the discovery,
focused.
we'll know enough about what's here to kind of have a grasp on what to do with it. And that's basically, I'm glad you guys are working with us on this.
It's a great group. Yeah.
It's important work.
Well, thanks so much, everybody. This has really been
Thank you.
invigorating and a little bit daunting,
Honored
I
to be
think.
part of
It's,
It's a
Yeah,
real
well, we'll be
brainstorm.
emailing you, and remember the hashtag, what is it?
No,
For the
Philly
next meeting, we'll
Jazz
get-
Legacy.
Philly Jazz Legacy.